Hear now, ye cherubim, ye Sephirim, ye angels, and ye men. Hear now, O protoplas, and earth, and plants, and beast. Hear now, ye creeping things of the earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly.
Welcome
Hear
to the
now,
Moorish Science
ye
Temple of
wisdom.
America as a body politic. I am your hostess, Moa Diana Love L, Assistant Grand Sheikess to our Grand Sheik, L Love L. Today we're going to be discussing the Moorish Science Temple of America as a trust, body politic, or not-for-profit. Now the question everyone is asking and concerned about throughout the states is, did Prophet Noble Jew Ali in fact bring a trust, body politic, or a not-for-profit? You're going to hear the answers to those questions today here, and much, much more. Questions like, what is a trust? Why was the trust hidden? And did the Prophet Noble Jew Ali in fact bring a trust to us? I'd like to introduce my guests today. Islam, Grand Sheik Lionel Lovell.
Islam, praise Allah for you, Sheikh.
And welcome to the show. Brother, it's been a long time, but today I welcome you and I salute you for all that you have done for the Moorish community here in Moorish Mecca. And I just like to say welcome to the platform, and we look forward to expressing all that there is to open up the windows of wisdom for our listeners.
Gratitude for having me.
Yes, indeed. So I'd like to just ask Grand Sheik a question that's been circulating around the Moorish movement, and I'm sure you know very well what that question is. The question, Grand Sheik, is, did the Prophet Noble Jew Ali leave the Moorish Science Temple of America a body politic, a trust, or is it, in fact, a not-for-profit? Now, let's take out the leave. Let's just say the Moorish Science Temple of America that was brought to us by our holy and divine Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Is it, Grand Sheik, a temple, or is it a not-for-profit? Now let's understand, when I say is it a temple, is it a body politic, the temple being a body politic, trust, or is the Moorish Science Temple of America a not-for-profit, Grand Sheik?
Praise Allah. First, I rise giving praise to the great God, Allah, the Lord, Governor, Cherisher, Sustainer, Ruler of the world.
Islam.
I give hail and honors to all the true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, giving hail and high honors to Marcus Mosiah Garvey, giving hail and high honors to the love thought made manifest, Prophet Noble Jew Ali. And those are some very good questions, my dear Assistant Grand Sheikhs. What we want to do is we want to go into what a trust is first, because see, the Prophet Noble Jew Ali did in fact leave us a trust as a body politic, but it has went through a series of evolutions. It started out as a civic organization, and this was done in 1926 November through the state of Illinois. And as it has progressed up until May the 1st, 1928, the name was changed from the Moorish Holy Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America. But not only was the name changed, it was also the status of the entity itself that was changed. Because see, you have different types of corporations that are formed under different types of statutes. The Moorish Science Temple of America at that time was organized as a civic organization. But the Prophet Noble Jew Ali had a meeting on July 20th, 1928, as evidence in our document that is referred to our authority here. And this is a template that's taken from the Illinois Herds Revised Statutes, the Religious Corporation Act.
Okay, now with that name being changed after that meeting on July 20th, Grand Sheikh, can you tell me, was the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, did that name dissolve, after which the Prophet decided to change the name because the work had become largely religious?
The name actually was not, see what occurs is the name did not dissolve, it was changed. So it was as if the entity itself continued to operate. Even
the Moorish Holy Temple.
The Moorish Holy Temple
Okay.
of Science, even though it was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America, it continued to operate under, it was never dissolved officially, but it was this was not the entity that the founder intended to carry on with
Now,
his
wouldn't
legacy.
that cause some problems? I mean, if he moved from the civic to the body politic, religious, as a Moorish Science Temple of America, and the name is still operating as a civic organization, wouldn't that cause somewhat of a confusion or clash in some way?
Yeah, that would be a conflict of interest because, see, normally when you go to start a corporation through state, or any state for that matter, they have a process where they check the name to see if that name is being used. Typically, they tell anyone that's seeking to start a business to bring more than one name, just in case that name is not able to be carried on in use, for use. Because if someone else has that name, then that could be a trademark infringement or something to that nature. So, being that the Moorish Science Temple of America name was already claimed, then that means that there would be infringement, and that would be a violation of a breach of contract, because we have this actually is not just an authorization document, it's also a contract between the Moorish Science Temple of America and the state of Illinois. So when you go into you go in the bottom here, it makes a reference to Herds Revised Statute, chapter 32, section 36. When you go into section 35, it speaks about any entity organized under said law being a corporate body politic and remaining so. So,
So that is docket 10-10-5905, the trust document that's being
that is
talked
correct.
about.
That is correct. And also, as well, we should know that this is the same document that should be on the back of our 101s.
Every 101.
To make it official, because see, if it's not, then it would constitute fraud. Because if you look on the original document, you see not one, not two, but 3 signatures on here.
So what
Right.
makes it official? The 3 signatures, right?
Well, it's not so much as the 3 signatures. The 3 signatures pretty much makes it official. It activates, it executes the instrument itself.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely.
it's the law that makes it official.
Of course.
The Religious Corporation Act is the law that's distinguished from the General Not-for-Profit Corporation Act. The General Not-for-Profit Corporation Act was the original statute that the Prophet organized the Moorish Science Temple of America under. But then when he made the switch, it went from the General Not-for-Profit Corporation Act to the Religious Corporation Act, which references body politics, where any entity that's formed under that statute would then be a body politic. So now we can get into the question of, did the Prophet Noble Drew Ali leave us a trust, which is what the body politic is. It is possible for a trust to be a body politic. So now that we are on the subject of trust, then it's really necessary for us to discuss what a trust is.
Let's talk about the blueprint of the trust.
Well, the blueprint for a trust, or any trust for that matter, let's just understand what a trust is first and foremost.
Okay, what is a trust?
A trust is something that's created for the benefit of another. That's it. Simple. Very simple. So that means that if I wanted to create a trust, very simply, this is the trust instrument the Prophet utilized. So the actual trust itself is the entity. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the founder or the creator of the trust, or would you refer to as the trustor or the settlor, right? And then you have the trustees. When you look on our document, you see the word trustees lined out and the word sheikh's written in its place. So what that explains, and what that explains to us, is that sheikhs have powers and duties similar to that of a trustee.
So, in fact, would it be safe to say, Grand Sheikh, that this is not only a trust, this document is not only a trust, but this document is also much, much more?
It is a whole lot more. It's so much more that we have to go into the documentation that we have, the Circle 7 Koran, to explain that it's not only a trust, it's also a charter, it's also a deed, it's also the incorporation documentation for the creation of our body politic. So, to be clear, we're going to go into the Circle 7 Koran, the Moorish Science Temple of America. And we're going to go into the end of time, the fulfilling of the prophecies. And we're going to read from verse 4, where it reads that the Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc. So, here's the thing. The only way something can be issued is if it's signed and executed. The Prophet's signature is here, okay? We have a situation where we have various charters that are circulating, but these are not charters that have been authorized by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'll give you an example right here.
Please give us an example.
Okay, now here's a copy of a charter, right? Now this was probably used during the lifetime of the Prophet. So, if he issued it like this, then it would be in line with what he did during his lifetime. But if you look in the literature, it says that only he can issue charters. No other person, no other Grand Sheikh, no other Sheikh. Only the Prophet Noble Drew Ali issues charters, as we see in our literature. See, that's part of the reason why we have to look at this from the trust perspective. This is a trust instrument. So, to be clear, the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic is also a trust. And as proof of that, you can go to the website and you can look it up, the Cook County Recorder Deeds website, and go under search records. When that drops down and that gives you, it will give you another page, then you go under search criteria. And once the search criteria drop down comes, then you'll have the option to choose trust document number. And then this is when you type in 1010-5905, and then you'll see a series of documents pop up that's been indexed under that trust. Now, the funny thing is, we are actually currently involved in issues where there's a question as to whether or not the Prophet's trust is real.
Now, how can that be a question whether or not the Prophet's trust is real when in fact it reads in the Holy Book, our Holy Book, the Circle 7 Koran, states clearly that the Prophet has the charters to issue. And if you look at the bottom of the trust instrument, which is also an affidavit that was filed for the record, you'll see at the bottom Hurd's Revised Statutes, section 3236.
Correct.
So how could there be any doubt whatsoever, Grand Sheikh, that whether or not there is a trust when law governs all events?
Well, Islam, what you have to understand is that one of the questions you brought up is that why was the trust hidden?
Thank you.
First of all,
that moves us to that question right there.
We go
and why was
right
it
into
hidden?
that. Because
Absolutely.
the Prophet Noble Drew Ali had foes. Allah has foes, so did our Prophet, and those that stand with him. So those foes that were against him then, they stand against him today. And they are the ones that wanted to remain hidden, that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali set up a trust. See, he was such a great man, and all great men are considerate of their posterity, and they think generations ahead. And see, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he was such a wise and great man that he could think besides, he was thinking about more than just himself and the generation that he was with at that time. See, this is during the time, the roaring 20s. You had a lot of these characters, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and all these individuals, right? These big time families we hear about. But you don't hear about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. there's like a immediate silence. How is it that you have a situation where you had thousands of Moors located in the inner cities of Chicago, yet not even 100 years later, there is barely even evidence that the man was here?
Well, one thing I do know, speaking of hiding that trust, you want to keep a man like that hidden. Because when you look at what it is that he brought, you want to keep it hidden. But I'd like to ask you, Grand Sheikh,
Islam,
by hiding the trust, what great harm has it caused to the Moors here in North America, in this present Moroccan Empire that we're in today?
Well, Islam, it's been stated by the Prophet Noble Ali that it takes finance to uplift a nation. And the finance is the lifeline. So what you have to understand is that back during the time of the Prophet, there was issues going on. You had stock market crashes. You had the banks that were struggling to, well, they were not struggling, but they were vying to get control, have a controlling influence over those within society on all levels. So the Prophet spoke about not being subjected ourselves to economic servitude. See, there is a reason why he spoke towards the law, and he spoke towards uplifting fallen humanity, and he provided the platform for us to provide schools, jobs, homes, burial grounds, and all of the things that's necessary for a body politic and for a nation to exist. And so there were those that would persevere and that would have a great influence, a greater influence, through profit-driven motives. And this is why you have issues with the prison industrial complex and big-time corporate interests gaining the power over the people, much like when you see in the Matrix movies and the Terminators. You know, the machine mentality is to push the capitalistic bill to the hilt. And with the people being the victims, the real people, the true American citizens that the Prophet spoke about. This is why he spoke about enforcing the law in order to save the nation. It was going to be up to us, those that he left as his sheikhs and those as his successors, who have the powers and duties similar to that of the trustee, to step up and to enforce the law in order to save the nation. It's just like when you look at any body politic. They have the executive branch, the legislative branch, the judicial branch. The executive branch is always there to enforce the law. Usually that's the mayor or the head of the township or the county board of directors, the head of the county board or whatever. That's the executive part. And then you have the legislative part.
So
they're the ones that make the law.
Would that be the Grand Sheikh in our instance?
Islam. The Grand Sheikh is empowered to make law and enforce law.
And the legislative?
So the legislature would be more related to the grand body, those that assist in the creation of the laws. And then, of course, you have the judicial or the judiciary, the three branches. That's the interpreter of the law. Every body politic has this in place. Every body politic has that template that can be operated from.
Like a machine. Well, Grand Sheikh, are we today, as a nation of people, going through fake poverty as a result of our trust? The Moorish Science Temple of America, docket 10105905, being hidden.
Islam, you know, it's like the saying goes, when you change your perception of things, then your perception of things begin to change, or the things that you perceive begin to change. It's like magic. So whereas we were looking at the Moorish Science Temple of America is just a group of another entity that's set up where you go to your Friday meetings, you go to Sunday school, and you may have a Koran class or something like that. But what we have to understand is that the Moorish Science Temple of America, as a body politic, is domiciled in the city of Chicago, county of Cook. And it's created as a religious society. So that means we have the ability to have our own boundaries and our own borders, to have our own banks, our schools, our own mayor, our own police chief, everything that any other body politic has.
I'm clear, but are we in a sunken state as a nation of people as a result of all of this being hidden?
Because of our lack of understanding and stepping up to the plate to realize that, yeah, we have to do the things that any other government does. This is part of the reason why it was stated that they will be left long enough to teach us how to run a government. We are supposed to take our part. We have our part to play in the government, and we have to take our place. So, yes, if you are in a situation and you're in a temple and there is nothing being done to affect the community that you're in, and it seems as if you're part of a clandestine organization, and yeah, that's something very wrong with that picture.
So what do we begin to do, Grand Sheik, to remove our people from this sunken, false poverty state that we're faced with today?
Well, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali put out 3 questions for all potential members. If you have race pride, ask yourself this: do you have race pride? Are you a strong man or woman? And do you think that your condition can be better? If you answer yes or an affirmative to those 3 questions, then we need you. You need to join us. You need to join the Moorish Science Temple of America so that you can make your condition better. And we're not talking about just saying it. We're talking about actually putting the works in where we can have an effect. For example, when you look at the Roman Catholic Church, you see that they have a lot of burial ground, right?
Absolutely.
We don't have one cemetery for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Whose fault is that? That's our fault. We can't blame anybody else for that, because see, it is up to us to enforce the law in order to save the nation.
And isn't there provisions within the Religious Corporation Act granting us school grounds, burial grounds, and a temple?
Well, there are provisions that acknowledge the ability for and the ability of us having those things, and it's not like it acknowledges the fact that, yeah, we have access to all of those things, but we have to take the initiative to step into the place to do what it is necessary. We can't blame anybody else for the lack of what we don't have. That's just like the city of Chicago blaming Harvey because they're having issues with their sewage.
Well, Grand Sheik, how do we begin to, educate not just the masses and the heads? Because keep in mind, this trust has been hidden. This trust here in the Moorish Science Temple of America has been hidden since 1929. Now, how do we begin to access this trust so that we can begin to, the members, first of all, can receive their checks? Because all of the other nations, they were paid. And it's only right for the Moors to proclaim their nationality like the other nations and also receive checks, because the trust has been set up to be able to not only assist the Moors here in North America, but assist the nations of the earth. That brings me to a question. It's been close to 20 years. I had the trust document authenticated. I took it to someone because I had to take it to someone to have it authenticated, a professor, a real estate professor. And this is why there is no doubt whether or not the Prophet Noble Drew Ali left us a trust. It has already, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, people in the world, in the present Moroccan Empire, it's already been authenticated, Grand Sheik, as you know. You were there to witness it in my infancy. So this trust, in order for it to be able to assist the nations of the earth, the blockers that are standing up, claiming what Allah has sent through his holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, is merely nothing but an affidavit. Now keep in mind, listening audience, viewing audience, that this document number 10105905, book 521, page 579, August 1st, 1928 at 2:52 p.m., that was indexed at the Cook County Recorder of Deeds Office, Registrar of Torrance Title. This document has already been authenticated. There is no doubt whatsoever. Please send your best of scholars. Wherever you are, whoever you are, please come out. Because right now it is time for the Moors here in the present Moroccan Empire to get their lot. Grand Sheikh, what do you have to say about this document as far as what it was before?
Okay, what I want to do is I want to explain to the people that you may have something that looks like this. This is not correct. This is not right in this act. This is what it should be. It has the signatures on it and everything. And this is what takes you out of the trust. This is what puts you in a state of disenfranchisement.
This is what hid the trust.
And this is a fraud.
That's the fraud.
This is the fraud. This is what's real.
Islam.
So what you have to understand is that after the Prophet Noble Ali left the scene, they were promoting this. And this is how it was hidden. Because it was hidden through the literature. The Prophet, that's why he explained to us that we have to study to show ourselves approved. To be a good Moorish leader, he said to study the Moorish divine constitution and bylaws and Quran, Circle 7 Quran that I left you. And to relate to your question about what is it going to take for us to get to a level of prominence that we should be in, it's going to take the members or the beneficiaries. And this is going back to trust basics. The beneficiaries are the ones that have to enforce the trust.
And they are the members
the members,
of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Right, the members is interchangeable with beneficiaries.
Absolutely.
So there's always four parts to a trust. Let's deal with the trust concept again. You have the trust itself. You have the trustor, which is the creator of the trust. You have the trustees, which are the managers or the directors of the trust. And then finally you have the beneficiaries.
Okay, well, Grand Sheikh, I thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone in the viewing audience for joining us. This is actually the first part of our show. Did the Prophet Noble Drew Ali bring the Moorish Science Temple of America as a trust, body politic, or a not-for-profit? Before this show is over, you have a decision to make. There's only two things in all of the world. The one is truth, the other being the falsehood. And since law governs all events, it won't be very hard for you to see the truth. When we come back, we're going to talk about the other part, which is fighting to resurrect our trust that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali left for us, and also what the Prophet's program is that he brought to us, that divine program to uplift fallen humanity. Thank you very much.
Islam.
I was in a restaurant on this particular day. A waiter walked up to me. I'll take your order, he say. Let me recommend our special. It's called like hotcakes. It's called nationality. And you love it, I say. Never heard of this before. I'll check it out anyway. Till a brother from my womb breathed on me one day. He said, research, study, and investigate. Spent 2 hours in a library. Truth there, I say. Nationality is the order of the day. 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 Other Prophet Drew Ali came on the scene to say, calling strong men and women to become ills and babes. If you do nothing else, proclaim your nationality today. National quality and character, we need it today. The status of belonging to a particular nation. If you do nothing else, Proclaim your nationality today. Nationality is the order of the day. If you do nothing else, proclaim your nationality today. What's your nationality? What's your nationality?
Welcome again to the Moorish Science Temple of America, home office as a body politic. And Noble Jew Ali is our holy and divine prophet. We are giving honors to him, and we're giving praises to the great God, the Father of this universe, and also acknowledging our forerunner, Marcus Garvey. I'd like to salute all of the sisters out there that are educating our children. Understand and realize, sisters, we are in the arms of our prophet. He didn't tell us, he showed us. Sisters, stay uplifted and remember, our children are our future. I'd like to thank all the brothers out there, the strong brothers that are standing with the strong sisters, because we are one. So we're back. This show is about Noble Jew Ali, Moorish Science Temple of America, as a body politic, trust, or not-for-profit. As I promised you when I return, before this show is over, you will have to make a decision. And that decision will determine, where is your check coming from? Will your check be coming from the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic? Or will you receive it from the state? Because, believe it or not, in 2017, there's a lot of chattel property here in the Union States. So it's a question of whether or not you're going to receive your check from that trust that the Prophet Noble Jew Ali set up for the Moors here in North America, the body politic, or will you be receiving your check from the state of Illinois? Because you will be receiving a check. Now, what I'd like to talk to the members about today and the audience about is the platform that the Prophet Noble Jew Ali set up for the Moors here in North America. Moorish schools, camping grounds, and burial grounds. Who wants in? Or shall I say, who wouldn't want in? Now, we're trying to build a nation. We're calling on all true American citizens and others alike for moral and financial support. Our program consists of establishing the following. 1, products to manufacture and sell. 2, markets to sell our products to. 3, schools to advance our posterity. 3 would be schools to advance our posterity, 4 would be hospitals for those in need of medical care, our elders, children, so forth. 5, recreation facilities for our youth and elders. 6, temples to propagate our faith. 7, newspapers to spread our interests. 8, housing for our people. 9, jobs for our people in our own places of businesses. And 10, all other projects which are necessary for building and maintaining a nation for our people. Now this, in fact, is the program that the Prophet Noble Jew Ali is with. And this is the program that the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic is with.
Praise Islam.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. You know, for so long we have suffered here in the Union States. We have cried out to our leaders, and we have prayed. We've marched, and we have hoped in our hearts that freedom would ring someday, one day, for our nation of people. We have made videos and did shows on the media, opening up their hearts to call us by our name. And now we've gone to associates in the Cook County Recorder of Deeds office and inside of the state of Illinois building. And we've had some of the people to tell us, sue us. We went to the Cook County Recorder of Deeds office and the Cook County said, sue us. What do you think about that, Grand Sheik?
Islam. Well, it's been stated that we have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. So,
Islam.
And then the Prophet also stated that we have to go to those that know the law under intelligent tone, and they will render us a favorable reply. So what occurs is that we had documentation that we were filing under the trust, under the Prophet's trust. As it was indexed. And some examples of that I'm going to show the audience right now. And on not only that, we were filing documents that were related to real estate, quitclaim deeds, assignment of beneficial interests, trust-related instruments like so, and these were all instruments that were filed. Here's an example of a quitclaim deed. This is real estate that was donated to the Moorish Temple of America. Okay. Here's another trust instrument. These are all examples of documents that we were filing in accordance to statutory law, which states that the trustees shall have power and custody over trust property that's related. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that verbatim. But what I wanted the listening audience to understand is that as a body politic, it has certain provisions and protections that it provides for us. This is part of the reason why we have to go to court, because there is a misunderstanding. And the misunderstanding is that the Moorish Temple of America remained a general not-for-profit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The misunderstanding is that the Moorish Temple of America here in North America stayed as a not-for-profit. But Grand Sheik, we know, and there's many that know, that nothing can be further from the truth. To evoke the angels, I would like to read Surah 14:4, Grand Sheik, and then I want to go into why we had to put that declaratory judgment in, and why it was necessary for this particular body, Home Office, to stand up for the Moors here in North America and put that declaratory judgment in, and a suit against the county and the state that was actually blocking the Moors from filing documents and from and add to that, our religious freedom, violating that. Surah 14:4, and we did not send any apostle, but with the language of his people, so that he might explain to them clearly. Then Allah makes whom he pleases heir, and he gives whom he pleases, and he is the mighty, the wise. Matthew chapter 21, verse 42 through 44. Jesus said to them, have you never read in the scripture, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone? This was the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore, I say to you, resurrect. The kingdom is here. Brother, I'd just like you to go into where, now that the angels have been resurrected, where are we in the lawsuit, the declaratory judgment, so that the children can come from up under this false poverty, come from up out of this sunken place, and we can begin to see our babies in college and not in jail. working toward businesses and opening up businesses and not slain because of some mistaken identity by some law enforcement agency.
I think it's necessary, Islam. I think it's necessary to go into the fact that when you just drew off of Surah 14:4, the Prophet was sent to us, speaking a language that we can understand. He was tailor-made for us. He came through the same experiences, he came through the same environment, and we were blessed to have someone that can identify with us directly, sent to us, a real live prophet. And I'm not talking about just somebody that's just put their name there just so it sounds good. No, we're talking about someone that he's a prophet of the book. He provided literature, and he provided healing works, and he produced works that stand even to this day. We have a notarized document that pretty much created a body politic that could house several continents.
And he left these very powerful words: enforce the law,
In order to save the nation. That's
and
right.
protect I, your prophet, and his temple.
So
What do you
means-
have to say,
well, the court,
Rashid?
well, in getting right and segue right into the declaratory judgment.
Why is it
So
necessary?
it was necessary to go before the courts to require them to go into exactly what is the intent and purpose of this. And when you do the research, what you will find is that the intent and purpose of this was the creation of a religious society, a body politic, that has the same autonomy like much of these other entities. We have some entities here. These are all examples of body politics. State of Illinois, Cook County, Alsip, Bartlett, Bedford Park, Bellwood, Berkeley, Berwyn. These are all body politics. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a body politic as well.
So we have powers and duties similar to these little suburban areas, you mean?
Well, what I'm saying is it's on the same level as a body politic.
That's
All
interesting.
corporations are not body politics, but all body politics are corporations.
Okay, I get that.
And when you become a part and parcel, you proclaim your nationality and you take out a nationality card with the Moorish Science Temple of America. We have a series of things that we do where you automatically have your status corrected or for the record, because the state has you listed as Negro, Black, or colored, as chattel property. As you mentioned earlier, Sheikahs, many of our people are under the designation of chattel property. So they haven't done what's necessary, and they don't have the ill and the bay on their name.
But on your birth certificate and your Social Security card, there is an ill.
That is correct.
Okay.
So we actually went through the formal process of having that upgraded, having that corrected, because the state of Illinois, or any other state for that matter, doesn't have the power and authority to confer titles of nobility, which is actually what ill and bays
Absolutely.
are.
Getting back to the declaratory judgment, what exactly is this supposed to do? What are you asking the state to do with that declaratory judgment?
Well, the state is being
To explain.
the court actually.
The court, actually.
Because see, this is how it's set up. The state has been listed as a defendant. Secretary of State, Mr. Jesse White, and the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, Torrance, Register of Torrance Titles, Aaron
Defendants.
Yarbrough. They're listed as defendants. In order for the court to determine what is the intent and purpose of this instrument, because they're denying that the Moorish Science Temple of America is a body politic. And what the state of Illinois has said is that the only Moorish Science Temple of America that they are recognizing is a general not-for-profit corporation, which we understand was left by the wayside by the founder.
With the
When
paperwork.
he picked when he had this actually notarized
Okay.
after the fact.
So when you say a ball was dropped somewhere, if the state is denying, the state is in denial?
Well, most certainly, most definitely. Because
What about
there
the
were
county?
what you have to understand is that there were detractors to the Prophet Noble Ali. There were those who were rivals against him, and they remained with the general not-for-profit.
I get you. That makes a lot of
he
sense.
moved on to
And
the
they stayed
religious
there.
corporation, and he continued to move forward in that vein.
Well, wait
so
a minute
that's a
now.
totally different jurisdiction, because see, you don't have to see the Moorish Science Temple of America is organized like this, doesn't have to file an annual report every year and paying $150 or whatever amount that's statutorily imposed at that time.
So the state had a choice.
But it remains perpetual is what I'm saying.
I understand
So
that. Let's talk about the state. Why the state had a choice to stay with the not-for-profit or to represent the
No.
trust.
This is not a situation where the state had a choice in any matter. This is a private religious society that operates autonomously.
I understand.
So within its own autonomy, there was supposed to be no interference and no issuance of any other charters or any other permission to any other group of Moors, because through the separation of church and state, the state of Illinois does not have, or any other state for that matter, does not have the authority to issue charters for a religious Islamic organization for that matter. This is why we have the separation of church and state.
I understand that
Right.
clearly, Grand Sheik. The state is in denial and saying that there's only one Moorish Science Temple of America, and that is a not-for-profit.
Exactly.
What is the
So-
county saying about that? Because the
Well,
county knows
see,
better.
This is how we got into this whole situation. As I was showing the listening audience earlier, we had a series of documentation that we have been putting on file. We've been filing documents related to real estate at the Recorder of Deeds Office, Register of Torrens Titles. We've been filing documents as related to the trust. So that means that we've had members amend themselves to the trust. And we were the administration that was actually filing the documents on behalf of the members. There was no other entity that was allowed, or any other administration that was allowed to do this.
Indexing your members only up under the trust.
Correct.
Okay.
So what occurred at a certain time when we came in to file certain documents is that we were told, or we were informed by the fraud department, this was a new department that was created by the incumbent quarter, by the way, that we would have to refer, or we would have to go to the Secretary of State.
No longer you could deal with the
Exactly.
county.
So if there was anything else to be filed, it would have to be done under the purview of the Secretary of State, which is false,
A
because
not-for-profit.
this was filed in the county jurisdiction, within the county jurisdiction. So why would we have to switch over and go to the state now when everything has always been through this venue?
So the county actually told you that you would have to go to the state to file any documents that you need filed.
That is correct.
Which
So
is
they
a
refused.
not-for-profit.
So what actually occurred is the Cook County Recorder of Deeds utilized blocking statutes to prevent us to file anything. So nothing has been filed at that office since May of 2015.
But isn't that a violation of the Religious Corporation Act? An
Well,
infringement on the rights of the
That's
indigenous
only for
people
starters.
here in this land?
That's for starters. It's actually a breach of contract, because see, you have a situation where you have an official that's in office and that's in dereliction of her duty. She is supposed to indiscriminately file documents related to land and other things with regards to the county. But what she has done, being a former legislator, she has taken that mindset and brought it into an office that only deals with recordation of documents, and that's it. So there have been blocking statutes utilized to keep us from managing the trust or the body politic, the Moorish Science Temple of America, as such.
Blocking statutes.
Blocking statutes.
Is it not true, Grand Sheik, El Laville, that the Cook County itself asked you to sue them because of the fact that they were
Well,
not going to allow you to file any documents anymore?
They
They suggested that it would be better that you sue. Did they
Well,
suggest that at any time?
Well, actually, they actually put it in writing.
They put it in
There
writing?
was, yes, we have correspondence.
I
and this
recall.
is the thing that's about this administration that I love. We have documentation. We have correspondence. As a matter of fact, Moorish Law Services is an entity that's created under the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. and we have experience filing federal lawsuits. This is an example of a federal lawsuit. This was filed May the 1st, 2015, so this is 2 years old, right?
Yes.
Um,
So basically, Grand
and-
Sheik, you were forced to file a lawsuit. You were being blocked, the religious rights were being infringed upon, and the Moorish Law Services is actually created up under that Religious Corporation Act. It's a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That template was created. So you basically did exactly what you were informed to do. And also, the state of Illinois, if I can recall, when we were over there speaking to lead attorney, he suggested that we would have to take him to court as well. How do you see this turning out in courts, being that we are law-abiding citizens and that this man, Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God, the Father of this
Well,
universe, Allah? How
it's
do you
just
see
like-
things turning out?
It's
Grand
just
Sheik?
like Eli Hugh said to Mary and Elizabeth when they were marveling much because of their deliverance. Hey, it's not strange. There are no happenings. Law governs all events.
I would
And
like to
the
say it
law
does.
that's going to govern this event is the Religious Corporation Act.
Okay, so
And the fact that everything as far as who we are and what, not everything, but as it relates to the structure and the origin and how it operates can be relayed and found in the Religious Corporation Act, the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic. And, you know, it's debatable. You know, people may want to debate about it and say, well, you know, I don't know who that leadership guy is. That's not my Grand Sheik. But to see, here's the thing. You have to be able to look it up. It's just like with any body politic. People can say what they want to say. You know, Joe Blow Bay can say he's the Grand Sheik over there. But how do you prove it? You have a lot of people that are popping up all over the place. They want to be the Grand Pooba. One Grand Pooba over here, one Grand Pooba over there. But how do you prove? There has to be a nexus. See, that's why law governs all events. What have these individuals done to prove, according to the law, that they are who they say they are? Because you should be able to look them up. This is part of the reason why we had to put certain documentation on the record and on file with the Cook County Recorder of Deeds. And we have here an affidavit of amendment, appointment of successor to the Holy Prophet Drew Ali, designation of beneficiaries. This is something that had to be done to connect the dots. Because when we went down to the Recorder of Deeds office, what they were asking us is, where's the other part? Because see here, let's just to be clear, since this is a deed, first of all, this is the certificate of title. This is a certificate to the title. Your deed is in here.
chapter 47.
Chapter
to be
47
clear.
specifically. So I want to read from some of that so that we understand exactly what it is and how it constitutes to be a deed, because this is in accordance to an abstract title.
Okay,
you
give
have
me-
two systems of recordation. You have the abstract title, and then you have the chain of title type of recordation systems. So I just want to go into it very briefly. And this is chapter 47, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, Egypt, the capital empire of the domain of Africa. And it explains that the Moabites, and this is verse 6, the Moabites from the land of Moab who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. See, the banks don't have authority to own property over here. We originally received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt, and anybody who has a right to the property over here would have to have that same permission. This is the abstract of title that we're operating from, and this is why we encourage all of the listening audience, if you qualify for those three things, if you think your condition can be better, and you are a strong man or woman, and you have race pride, come join the Moorish Science Temple
Islam,
of
thank you
America.
so much, Grand Sheik. The Prophet did say that if the United States of America, the states here, which this is the present Moroccan Empire, we are not confused, understand. If in fact the children, the Moors, the people in the nation, if the Moors here in North America were not treated fairly, and if the foreigners did not back up off our trust, which is in fact a trust. And it's a known fact, it's recorded, and I welcome any scholar here in North America. Please come to the Moorish Science Temple of America. This place will be in a lot of trouble if in fact things don't. We're talking earthquakes, we're talking floods. Fear not, Allah is God. If your heart is in the right place and you're doing what you're supposed to do,
And tornadoes.
fear not. Tornadoes, floods, earthquake is on the way. If those who are standing and blocking what Allah has put forth for his children, look for it. This is not a threat. This is a promise from the great God, the Father of this universe. Because in fact, this is spiritual warfare. I love you with the love that will never die.
Yes,
I am Assistant Grand Sheikess Moal Deanna Love Ill of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic, trust, to the Grand Sheik Lionel Love Ill. Somebody had to take a stand. We have cried out and called on our leaders all over. We have sent letters. We have been working all of our lives to help uplift our people. If not now, then when? If you love your race and if you have race pride, come on and join up with the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members, I got one line for you. Do your research, study, and investigation because we are here for the unborn. I love you with a love that will never die. For those of you who got those iron curtains drawn and working those puppeteers, don't worry about it. We got you faded. There's only two things in all the world. One is truth and the other is falsehood. Love yourself, love each other, hug yourself, be good to yourself, and know that Allah loves you. Until next time, we will be joining you again. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, Grand Sheik, for
Islam.
visiting us, and
Thank you,
thanks to all the guests that came out to support us.
Praise
We
Allah.
love you. Peace.
Nationality is the order of the day. If you do nothing else, proclaim your nationality today. What's your nationality? What's your nationality? What's your nationality? What's your nationality? Is it Moorish American? Are you British? I thought you were Argentinian American. Are you Cherokee?